Okay, so now that we have our ground material set up, we can go back to selection mode where we will build our scene. We will start with creating these two buildings and then we will go for the trees. Okay, so inside our main folder, we can create new folder called 3D models. Okay, let's just open it up. And now we can click on this, right click on this folder and show in Explorer. And now we can go to our course assets where we have this cabin and a bond house. These two folders and they contain UE assets files, which means that we need to grab these two folders, move them to the 3D models folder inside our main project right here, and they're working fine. And if these models will not load, then you need to close and reopen Unreal Engine after importing them here. Okay, now we can close these folders, and here we have this abandoned house and we have this cabin. So let's set them up. This landscape is pretty big, but I wanted to make this landscape big enough so we can fit a lot of trees and then we can add low quality trees in the background. That's why we have so much space, but we will not take all of that space for our gameplay area. What we can do is now just grab our abandoned house and move it somewhere. For example, here, or move it a little bit further right here. Now we can press F to fly to this abandoned house, and now we can rotate it a little bit. So I want to make a path that will go from this building to the second building, which is called cabin. It will be like this, and this cabin will sit, for example, here. So we need to rotate our house a little bit, move it where it should be, and move it down. Okay, and now I think that this actually looks pretty nice, but we have something, we have a little bit ground inside this house, so we can rotate it just slightly. We can disable this rotation snapping. We can click here to rotate it locally. Now we can just slightly rotate it like so, and now we don't have any ground in this house. It is not sitting up super straight because our terrain is uneven. That's exactly what we want. But I think this looks fine. And obviously you can now play around with the landscape around this house. But I think this looks really nice in this place. You can right click on the landscape and click play from here to see how it will look. And this is looking pretty decent. We can go in the house. Yeah, it just looks pretty nice. So now we can move to our second building, which will be on the other side. Let's go to cabin folder where we have cabin ready. We also have doors, which we will use later when we will focus on creating interactable actors. But for now, just grab this cabin, again rotate it. Is this a good place? Yeah, I think distance is pretty good, or we can move this a little bit further. Okay, this distance looks pretty great. If we click play from here, you can see how far this cabin is. Yeah, I think this is looking good. Maybe just move it a little bit closer to the abandoned house. Let's see the distance now. Yeah, I like this distance. But now obviously this cabin is in the ground, so we need to move it higher. And that's not perfect because we have now this house is floating. In order to keep this house straight, we can just edit the landscape around this house. So let's go to landscape mode, where we can go to sculpt, reduce the strength obviously to 0.2 or something like that, or maybe even 0.1. Yeah, so we can now build a landscape around this house just slightly. Just like that. And now we can go inside. Oh, there's no ground inside. I thought that we will have to adjust ground inside, but no, it looks pretty good. Now we can obviously smooth this out so it looks a little bit more natural. Yeah, it doesn't have to be perfect, obviously. Here we have a little bit of ground inside. Yeah, it may not be perfect, but it will do the job. Okay, I think we're done with this. So the last thing that we need to do is to draw a path. And now we have to go to landscape where we have set up our ground and path material. We can select the path material, obviously reduce the brush size. I still think that this is too much. I will reduce it even more, brush size right here, to around 200. Yeah, this looks fine. And here we have tool strength. It will be set to 0. It's not doing anything, but if we will set it to 1, you can see that the blending does not look that good. So I will go for like 0.7. And yeah, I think that this size is pretty good. Maybe 150. A slightly smaller path. No, I think that 200 was all right. Now we can go take a look from the up here, and now we can draw our path. So I will just try to do a freestyle. If you don't like the shadow covering this path, we will also later we will get rid of this sunlight, but for now we can just click on the directional light. Oh, first we need to leave the landscape mode. Click on directional light, and we can just rotate it so the shadows are pointing in the different direction. And I think that this path looks not bad. There's something wrong here, so let's go back to landscape and fix this place. Yeah, this is looking pretty great. So now we have our path, and if we click play, this is how the path looks in game. Yeah, I think that 200 width is pretty good. We can see it is completely different from the ground material, which is exactly what I wanted. And I think that distance between the cabin and the abandoned house is also pretty good. So now where we have this path completed, we have these two buildings. We will block the gameplay area with barriers, but I will show you a really nice trick for creating a procedural barrier.